You all, we are not licensed professionals. You know, we are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, you know, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again. Welcome back to another episode of Friendship University. I'm Kristen. You all know I'm joined by my gracious, amazing co-host, Miki. Miki, how you doing this week?
Honestly, in a chokehold. Listen.
Tell us about it.
I'm sure you already know. I'm sure they already know.
Tell the people about it. What has you in a chokehold?
The girls. Man? The girls got me out here in a motherfucking headlock. You hear me? Meg. Beyonce. Lizzo. Amelie Lenz. My girls are out here this summer. They're out here.
It's a outside summer. The hot girls are up. They thought we were up last summer, but I feel like let me not say that. The hot girls are up.
It's our time. It's our time. It's a hot girl summer. I mean, we're going into fall now, so it's about to be a sexy girl fall, but we'll do what we can.
I'll take it.
Listen, I believe Energy has like 12 million streams as of last time I checked on Spotify. Mm-hmm. I'm at least 2 million of those streams. I have on repeat. I'm at the gym doing leg press, and all you hear is Energy in my earphone. Like that's it. Like that's all I care about at this point.
I'm probably 2 million of Cozy. Whatever the number for Cozy is, I'm there. 2 million of them.
Me and our mutual or ambiguous unnamed mutual friend, who will remain unnamed for now, we did a little bit of research about like how much you get per stream, like on like streaming services like Spotify and stuff. Mm-hmm. This probably is no surprise. One, it's not a lot of money. You don't get a lot of money from streams.
A few cents.
That was a surprise to me. I thought people made money off streaming.
That's not how you make your money as an artist.
That's good to know now. But we were doing some like rough calculations about like how much Beyonce might make per song. And the way them numbers are looking for this album, she makes my yearly salary probably every 12 minutes.
And that's the top. You know, she's scoped to break the record of the most streams. She's almost to 1 trillion streams. The only artist on Spotify to ever do that.
That's insane.
But when you think about it, if she had to get to that many to get to your yearly salary, what's happened to streaming services? Because I see the amount y'all taking out of my account, snatching.
Gone.
Every month. Where's that money going?
Questions I need answers. But no, I've had a good week. Like I said, those albums have been carrying me throughout the week. And not just Beyonce, like I said. Meg's Traumatized has me out here. Mm-hmm. I haven't finished Lizzo's album, but I'm enjoying it so far. Still trying to figure out what a Bellissiousy is. One day I'll figure out what that is. Or I won't, you know. Feel free to not tell me what that is. But how about you? How's your week?
I can concur. I too have been trying to figure out what that is. But no, I do really enjoy that Lizzo album. It's good. Meg, Beyonce. We talked about Beyonce. We also have to talk about Solange.
What'd she do?
She just made history as being the first Black female to create an original composition for the New York City Ballet.
Oh, really?
So, yep. So
Good
she
for her. Hell
is
yeah.
out here. If I can make it, I'm gonna do my best. I've been looking for dates, but she has made an original composition for the New York City Ballet, and I think that's so amazing. It, to me, fits directly in line with what we've seen from her, the creativity, just everything. So shout out to her for this week, for sure. She deserves to be shouted out as well. Also, I mean, on another spectrum, there was another album that just came out by this artist called Ty Tribbett, and his album, he's a gospel artist, and that has kind of like set me over the edge as well, because I live for a nice, good, wholesome, from the soul scream. Just does something to me, just energizes me when I wake up. But my week has been good. Let's see, the last 7 days have been chill. We did our game night. We played Mario Party for the first time.
Oh my goodness, that was
insane.
a mess. I love that game.
You like it because it's Mario Party is utter chaos.
Listen, Nintendo only produces games that'll ruin friendships. Smash Bros, you'll ruin some friendships. Mario Kart, friendships over. The way I was ready to fight after Mario Party, I was like, this is ghetto.
Who you gonna fight though? Because I feel like Nintendo is one of the fairest gaming systems out there, because like we play other games and they will automatically say who you gonna take from, who you gonna take out. They give you a randomized button. I've never seen that on a game before, where you can just randomly choose which player to take from. That is a saving for me, because who wants to have to choose between who to take something from when you have no choice but to take something? That is the choice you are. But yeah, I mean, it is chaos. You're right, because many a day I got into many an argument over Smash Bros. In college with friends and just different things like that. So, I mean, I found it to be quite hilarious and fun, though.
It was a great time.
I did not understand how they were saying they had that many games on there until I actually played it. So, if you're confused like I was to figure out how I think they said they had like 70 plus games in this one game. And I was like, how are they having like 70 plus games? And they were like, well, we do board game type thing. Play it. If you can get a demo or something of the nature, it will make sense once you actually play it. It's very much so worth it to get it if you're looking for a multiplayer game, for sure, for like a group of like 3 or more. Good times. And then just been working, doing a lot. I'm helping plan a friend's birthday this weekend. We're having like a birthday brunch, so that's been taking quite a bit of my time. And yeah, I can't complain. It's been raining, so I haven't been able to get outside, but
I don't go outside anyway.
But
because if it's not raining, it's like 1,000 degrees, so I still wouldn't be outside.
What I will say is it has not been scorching hot.
We're getting down. It's getting lower, but it's also, we live in Atlanta, which don't get too excited, because this is probably like false fall, because it's about to go back to Satan's anus.
Yeah.
Next week.
We always have a false fall. So we'll get a nice breeze for about a week.
And right back to the pits of hell. Right back.
Put in the natural deodorant away, because it's not going to work.
Nope. Not going to work.
Although natural deodorant does work for me, I must admit. But yeah. So if you're new here, if you're returning, whatever the case may be, you can expect episodes from us every Friday, Friendship Fridays. We are a podcast.
I'm sorry. I was late to that. It's Friendship Friday.
Why didn't you just not do it then?
I was paying attention to something else.
So you heard my voice in like a aftermath type deal. It
just took a little bit to process. Keep this in. This is good dialogue. But cut the part where I said keep this in.
Or keep the part where he says keep this in, because he loves to say keep this in.
Oh, well, okay. Well, now that she
You
said
can
that, you can keep
out.
it in.
Keep
No,
it
no,
out.
let's keep it in. Let's keep it in. They need to know the
Let's
real
keep it
us.
in.
They
You
need to
know,
know the
and
real us.
I could really make a joke about keeping it in, but I won't.
Ooh. Yikes. I mean, now that Roe v. Wade is gone, you may want to be careful what you keep in.
Listen, at this point, listen, all I have is Jesus on the main line. That's it. That's all I
Speed
got.
dial, baby.
That's all I got.
There's nothing else. There's no more we
I'm
got.
unashamed. That's all I got. This is who I am. This is where I am. He's on the main dial. And please take the wheel. Take the car note as well. Insurance too. So, if you are new here or you're back, as we just said, when you can anticipate episodes from us, well, we are a podcast, dedicated to talking about the lost art of friendship. Also, just trying to make sure that we are being the best human beings we can, because we live in a trash world. And, we don't want everyone to have to be trash. The better you get, the better you can be to one another. So we're just trying to be vulnerable and honest with you about our journey as friends, about our journey as making friends. So then hopes that you can go out there and trust one another, because people are your greatest resource for sure. Don't let anybody ever tell you any different. If anybody ever tells you they made it to where they are by themselves, they're a liar and the truth is not in them, and you should run the opposite way. So if you're new here, we like to do icebreakers and questions and different things. We're going to actually take a little detour this week. We've been thinking about this for a while now. And I think it's important to understand how we see friendship in media too. So we were looking at different shows we watch, and as individuals, as friends together, and just seeing how friendship is portrayed. And you all can think of 1,000 shows where friendship is portrayed. I mean, you got Living Single Friends. You got all these shows where friendship is just perpetuated. That's a main arc. We wanted to talk about something that's on the spectrum for both of us, because as you know, we're both blurs. We both like the nerdy stuff. And we just finished the last season, I don't want to say series, the last season of The Boys. Mm-hmm. The Boys, which is this amazing fictional show on, is it Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Amazon Prime. They're in their 3rd season, right? Or is it 4th?
We just finished up the 3rd season.
We just finished up the 3rd season. They're filming the 4th season. Just to give a quick synopsis about The Boys, it's superheroes gone rogue and what happens when the people who are sworn to protect you turn on you. Whoo, spoiler alert. Hello, America. But yeah, so what happens when the people that you trust can no longer be trusted? And so we're in the 3rd season of that. Just FYI, if you haven't watched it, there will probably be spoilers. We will do our best to timestamp those spoilers, but it probably won't happen. So if you've never seen The Boys, you may want to cut this off and just do yourself a favor and binge watch that for us. So we're going to talk about the dynamic between the actual boys of the show. So I guess to make it a little bit more understandable, it's split into 2 parts. You have the superheroes, which are called the Supes. Mm-hmm. And then you have the boys, which is this group of individuals who do not have natural superpowers per se, but they have come together to try to combat the aggressiveness and the mayhem that some of the superheroes have started to convey upon the world. So there are, 5? There's Huey, mm-hmm. There's Butcher,
Mother's
Milk,
Frenchie,
Kimiko,
and I guess we have Starlight now.
So we'll talk about Starlight a little bit. Starlight is a suit, what they call a superhero, who kind of inadvertently becomes one of the boys because her boyfriend is one of the boys, and also she's opposed to the way that the Supes have been operating. But if we think about these relationships between these people. What is your first impression of the friendship between this group?
I would really be super hard pressed to even call them friends. Most
Okay.
of them.
Yeah.
Okay, one specifically, Butcher. Not gonna lie. I, who needs enemies? We have friends like Butcher. Like truly, who? That man's wild. But as far as the group goes, they've definitely grown over the past 3 seasons. I'm actually rewatching the show for like the 17th time, actually, with someone. And watching the first season, it was definitely not as close as they are in season 3. Like, come season 3, like, they're like pseudo-ish family. Mind you, spoiler alert, like she said earlier, they don't really have much of family to go off of anyway, so they kind of do become each other's family. It's just like a super toxic Brady Bunch situation.
Oh, so you mean it's like a situation where they were forced to intermingle as a family and now they just have to adjust to one another?
It was more like in the first season, they all started off like serving a purpose in another person's life in a sense of like, I need you because you're convenient for me to get what I want. And
You fulfill a
need,
yeah.
right? And then that grew from that to like season 2, where it's much more of like okay, like I value you, like I care about your well being, like
We started to see them save one another,
saving one another more often.
Yeah.
Like there was still some friction, but like they were a little bit more like compassionate towards each other. And then come season 3, there was a little bit of like falling out because there was some different ideologies as far as like, should they take the temporary V? Should they not take the temporary V, which is a drug that's inside the boys' universe? So there was a little bit of tension there, and it kind of highlighted like their different ways they operate. Like you kind of like saw different pairings kind of like emerge. Like you saw like Starlight and MM connect, and you're like, oh, I never saw that before. And you saw like more vulnerable side of Frenchie and like Kimiko's relationship. Yeah. So they definitely have gone from like strangers who are just a part of a team to more of like actual like friends and like borderline family. Like I said, it's a really toxic family dynamic, especially because of one of them, Butcher, who is the instigator of most of their issues and turmoil. But even still, like even Butcher has moments where he, you can tell he cares. Like, I mean, he shows it in a really fucked up way, but he does care sometimes.
I guess he loves from the best place he can love, I guess.
I mean, we got that flashback from this last season.
Yeah, we learned a little bit about each character and their background. We already knew some of them, like Huey. Whew. His background, I mean, again, spoiler alert, that first episode, a doozy. Let's just say girlfriend doesn't make it.
Could you imagine?
Splatter all over the wall.
So there's a speedster character by the name of A-Train, and he, for one reason or another, runs completely through Huey's girlfriend.
He couldn't control himself. He was, you know how Meg says, "I'm running through your nigga house like a Tomb Raider."
He was running through.
He ran through her
like a Tomb
Raider.
But we're not gonna give it all away. So, like I said, for one reason or another, he ends up killing this girl in an accident. And could you imagine like going to the Amazon, whatever studios, if that's a thing, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna audition for the role of the girlfriend. So you audition, you get yes, you're perfect, you get the part, and you're killed off in the first 2 minutes of the show.
It was literally like 5 minutes.
Gone.
I think she may have had 4 lines.
She came back for some flashbacks, but the flashbacks, she didn't talk. She just sat there.
She may have gotten a check though. I'll take it.
You know she got a check. She probably got my year's salary for doing them 3 minutes. I'll do 3 minutes for whatever amount of money I make per year. Hell yeah.
So, right. So we see a little bit of, in the later seasons, a little bit of each character's like backstory and really why they are the way they are, because essentially, like, we all are made up of a story, right? We all act the way we act because of the experiences we've had in life and just different things like that. So I do like that they showed us some of that to let us know why some of these people are acting the way they act. Like even Butcher, we knew a piece of his story in the beginning. We knew why he was after the soups. We knew why he had this like vengeance in his heart or whatever. The first thing that came to my mind when I saw all of them in a collective was that they are trauma bound. So they all had trauma that they had connected on, and they all had a mutual enemy. And so, like, you know how they say, an enemy of my enemy is a friend of mine, or something like that. That's what I thought about. So I was like, all of them hate the soups. All of them have these hard pressed issues and traumas that are tied to a soup, tied to something that happened where they either lost someone or lost something. And I was like, okay. But then I started to see, like, we learned I think Mother's Milk and Butcher worked together before, right?
Yeah, most of them worked together.
Yeah,
in the
Frenchie, they worked together in the past and, like, came together as a collective. Still a little bit of a trauma bond, but they came together and they were, like, a collective and they were friends. But we also realized they never talk until they need to, like, complete a mission.
Right.
So that was interesting to me as well because everybody going through something. Frenchie, we didn't even realize Frenchie had gotten divorced. I mean, not Frenchie. Mother's Milk had gotten divorced. Lost his wife and his daughter to
Todd.
I don't even know how that transpired.
That's like going from a Lamborghini. That's like going from a Lamborghini to like
a Prius.
I could not think of a better comparison.
And
actually,
nothing against to EVs because I am on my journey to get an EV, but a Prius from what'd you say?
A Lambo.
A Lambo. Would you rather be crying in the what did they say? The Honda?
No.
Or the
I'd rather cry in the Lambo.
What did he say? No, but would you rather be crying in the Prius or the Lambo? Yeah. And then we see Butcher lose his forever love. Swear to take
Lost
care of her.
Came back. Lost her again.
We already knew Huey's girlfriend was disintegrated around New York City.
Ran through
like a Tomb Raider. And then
Kimiko was a kidnapped.
So yeah,
forced child. I mean, that sounds disgusting. A child soldier.
Yeah, for the most part, she lost her brother. So Kimiko loses her brother.
Finds him, loses him again.
He actually, she doesn't speak. Frenchie, who was pretty much a lap dog, he was a machine that somebody was using. Yeah, drug addict, loses some of his friends.
But that's a good point about the trauma bonding thing, because I too also have some trauma bond friendships, and honestly, they're some of the best ones in my opinion.
What I will ask about that is, have you all, or do you feel like you are healing from the trauma together as a collective, as friends?
Yes, however, I'm not going to say it specifically because, like, we're friends. I mean, I'm not going to say, like, that doesn't contribute to it, but it just so happens that these friends who also have, like, their own life traumas also, like, go to therapy and stuff like that, which is completely, external of the friendship.
That's fair. It's their own choice. I guess what I'm asking is, do you feel like if they weren't healing the way you were, you all would still be able to be friends?
Oh no, because either you're growing with me or you're getting out the door.
Nah, you grow with me or you're out.
That's it. There's no option. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like one of those people. Like I'm always growing. Every day is a new growth opportunity, and I'm just every day I'm just becoming a better person.
You do though.
I try my best to learn from the different lessons I have in life. Some lessons I have to learn more than once.
Don't we all?
But I do try to be a better version of myself as frequently as I can. Again, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, like I'm just 10% better every day.
But you can tell when you are growing.
Yeah, I can tell when I'm growing. I can tell when I'm, becoming more of my full capacity. Like I felt this way like not last week. This week? Last week? What's today? Last week? It's only Tuesday. So last week, when I went to therapy, like me and my therapist made like a nice little breakthrough. I got some nice little affirmations. I'm doing a good job. So, you know, I'm growing and becoming a better person, and I need that same kind of energy around me, which is no shade, no, okay, energy, okay, which is no disrespect or shade to people who aren't in a place to grow, because like it took me a long time to even get here, and I'm gracious with that, but at the same time, like I can only go but so long. If you're just gonna sit here and continue your destructive behaviors, like I don't know how long I'm expected to kind of sit by and like watch you do it. But yeah, you gotta be on the same train. You gotta be on the same wavelength of let's grow, let's become better.
I think that's important. I think so. That's what I noticed in this most recent season of The Boys. It was like a lot. Almost everyone outside of Butcher was growing into a realm where they were looking at things in a different perspective, and it was drawing them away from him, drawing the bond away. Like they got further and further away from the purpose, because I feel like sometimes we don't realize that there's a why behind our purpose. And once the why changes, or if it changes, or if it develops, it can draw us closer or to certain things or people. So I think that's what was happening, because Butcher never, his why and his purpose and the way and his route to that never changed. It wasn't changing, but everybody else's why was changing around him, and the route that they wanted to take was changing around him. And even though we see more vulnerable sides of Butcher in this season, because we see him like want to save Huey from, you know, knowing that he's like too good to be doing the Compound V, and like even like the Starlight situation that you talked about, and they kind of connect on that situation. It's still, I don't think, enough, because at the core he has this vengeance that they all originally connected on wanting, but now I can't tell if either the approach has changed or the vengeance itself has changed in everybody else. I know for Kamiko and Frenchie, the vengeance has changed for sure. Like they aren't even wanting to do anything with that, but like with Huey and Mother's Milk and even Starlight now, I feel like they still maybe have the same vengeance, but
I think their motivations are different.
Yeah.
I think Huey and Butcher are pretty aligned in regards to like vengeance, because like Huey still wants to get back for like Robin and like stop Vought from being like trash. Vought being the company that owns the soups. I think Mother's Milk's new motivation, because before it probably was like a bit of like revenge / like anger about what happened to his family due to
which was
not Captain America. What's his name?
Interesting.
Soldier Boy.
Tell him.
That's his name, Soldier Boy. As far as Mother's Milk, I think it's switched over to more of like making sure his daughter doesn't get sucked up into like all that trash, and having certain opinions about like the world and experiences, as far as like putting these really trash human beings that just so happen to have superpowers on a pedestal.
Which is the worst. If you could think about the most trash, again, spoiler alert, hello America, if you could think about the most trash human being who has the most power in the world,
and give them laser eyes.
Dangerous. And give them laser eyes and the inability to ever destruct.
That's great. And then as you said, Kimiko and Frenchie, they're kind of like, this has been fun and all, but like we want to go live like a regular life. So I definitely think the only person who's still like driven by like pure like I just want to get back for all the trash things that's happened to me is Butcher. And with this past season, it definitely kind of highlighted like where he is versus where everyone else is, because everyone else, they still have their scars, but like they're trying to be a little bit more like put together about it. Like, you know, Huey's working with the governor, whatever her girl name is. Is she a governor? I don't know if she's a governor or not.
She was I don't know what she was, but remember he finds out.
I mean, yeah, he
about
finds
her.
out, but he was still like trying to have like a regular. He was trying to like stop Vought, but like in a healthy way. And like,
Yeah.
we're gonna put them down in the media. We're gonna.
Well, you know, he has
know.
his moment where he finally says, like, where he's talking to Starlight. And he's like, you're right, or Butcher's right. We can't go about this the right way. Because up until this point, he's been trying to, like, do the straight and narrow and go through it politically or, like, legally, whatever.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, he still kind of like aligns with Butcher because he still has like that drive to do whatever it takes. It's just not like fully there where Butcher's is. And then there's the other side of the team, like Starlight and MM and, you know, Frenchie, where it's like, let's just like protect who we can, not, you know, do too much.
Even protected innocent.
Protecting, like,
They're
you
really,
know,
like,
if you can save a few lives, right, you know, you cool, let's do it the right way. Like, they're not necessarily like they actually are, like, are part of a team that just, like, incriminates, like, soups who do bad things. So, like, keeping it on the books, keeping it legal, doing it the right way, while, you know, Butcher's like, yes, let me inject myself with this, you know, experimental
and didn't
drug.
tell anyone he was going to be doing that.
Yep. And then it came out, and he's like, well, I'm still not going to stop, so. Which is, I guess, is a different question about, like, friends with addiction, but we can talk about that sometime. That's not right now.
That's on the books. Well, okay, so I guess what I would say from that is, like, when you think about a friend or someone who you know care about dearly in that aspect, and they want to go to an extreme that you don't necessarily agree with, how do you, like, deal with that, you know? Because, like, he said, I'm going to do this. This was, like, for collateral. I think this is the term he used when we are breaking in or whatever. And so, like, how do you say that is actually not something I'm cool with? Like, has a friend ever done something where you're like, I get the end goal you're trying to get to, but I don't agree with the method that you're taking to get there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had a friend in the past where he had a certain goal in mind, but the way he wanted to get to the goal was what I would argue unhealthy, on a few different levels. I understood like why he wanted to get where he wanted to get, and like to an extent what he was doing to get there wasn't inherently bad. Like, there was some like actual good advice in there, but it, to the extent he wanted to do it, was where it got unhealthy and like a little bit like obsessive and stuff like that. As far as how I handled it in the situation, honestly, I just kind of did a mixture of distancing myself from the situation and also kind of ignoring it, honestly. Mainly because the friend I'm referring to was notoriously hard-headed and trying to convince them to do anything that's not like trying to convince them to do something that they don't want to do, or like, you know, stop them from doing something they had like set their mind to. It's kind of useless. They've grown, I've grown. Since then, they've stopped doing that, luckily. Which also, I'm making it sound like it's like so bad. It's nothing like super bad. It was just like not a healthy habit to pick up. And then as far as how I would handle it now, honestly, I would just be honest. I would just be straight up like, hey, like, I think what you're doing is destructive or blah 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 for these list of reasons, but you know, you have to kind of go about it the right way. Like, you can't be like, you're doing the wrong thing and because no one really appreciates that kind of feedback. It's much more of like you have to start with, like, for lack of a better term, and this is so gross, but like, lead with love.
Hey, don't in everything you do, you should do it in love.
Sure. And then if they don't respond, like, to your plea slash evidence slash advice, like I've said before, you really can't force anybody to do anything at the end of the day. All you really can control is your reaction to it. So If it's really destructive or you don't want to watch your friend do whatever because of whatever reasons it is that you have, you can walk away.
Yeah.
I understand that's a little hard and maybe you feel a little guilty if something happens to them, but that's also not your problem. Like, and that may sound heartless or callous, but
No, I mean, we talk a lot about accountability. So.
right. Like, if they don't want to get better, I can't make them better. I can talk about it till I'm blue in the face, but if they set their mind on, no, I'm doing this no matter what happens. I don't care if I get fucked up or if I get hurt or who I hurt. Okay, sis. I mean, I'm concerned about you, and here's why. But at the end of the day, if you still want to go, key old boy's car and like take a baseball bat to his head, knock yourself out. I can't stop you.
And we're not advocating to do it.
I'm not saying do it. I would prefer if you didn't. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go to sleep eventually, and you gonna be out the door, and I can't do nothing about that.
Ain't nobody gonna interrupt his sleep. One thing I did find interesting as well with Butcher and Huey, especially, was because they collided so heavily, but inevitably they had the same motives. Butcher doesn't admit it, but he felt helpless. He feels helpless against Soups. That's why he took the Compound V. He wanted to get vengeance against a wrongdoing of him losing a loved one. Huey, the same thing. Huey may have felt more helpless in the sense of physically in his realm, because Butcher is like a brawly guy, so he has muscles and he fights a lot. He doesn't back away from aggression or conflict or anything, whereas Huey is more meek and he will try to avoid conflict at all costs. But I think they had the same like mentality, just different approaches. They both felt helpless. They both wanted vengeance. Butcher just tried to make Huey seem like he couldn't handle Compound V because he's so meek. But in the end, y'all both are doing the same thing. You don't have enough power to fight these people, and neither does he.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty interesting between that friendship, and I think on some level maybe Butcher understood that, how Huey wanted to have that power. But what rubbed me the wrong way is that I feel like he understood it but still didn't want Huey to have that power. Like he wanted to be the only one with that power in the group.
He did seem pretty selfish with it in the beginning. Towards the middle end-ish, he was more giving as far as letting Huey do it, but at the same time,
I don't think he have a choice at that point.
Because he was going to do it at that point. But he also recognized how dangerous it was and did push Huey away from doing it, which, I mean, that happens in real life situations too. Like someone is doing something toxic and they're like, I know my toxic shit's gonna fuck you up, so I'm gonna push you away opposed to like actually stopping my toxic shit, because it's easier to push you away than to deal with it. So yeah, those friendships are a bit turbulent for me. Then again, in retrospect, I don't know if anyone in the boys has genuine relationships at all. I haven't seen any. No, Huey. Frenchie and Kimiko are probably the only two genuine, like, no bullshit, like, actual good connection. Everyone else is, like, either you're trauma bonded or you hate each other on the low, or I've tried to murder you 6 times, but I haven't had the chance to. It's a lot.
That's fair. Well, you brought Starlight in, so maybe Huey and Starlight, even though they
were on
eventually
they eventually
go into a romantic relationship, but they start off as friends or whatever. But even if you think about Kimiko and Frenchie, though, it's pure in the sense that Frenchie has not necessarily sent Kimiko into a dangerous realm like Butcher has, but when it came down to like him trying to handle his demons and stuff, it still affected, because the scene in the hospital where old girl shows up and it's like, you did not finish your end of the job.
That's
and we don't know what happened. I don't think we don't figure out what happens to Kimiko, right? Or Frenchie.
They're fine. Everyone's fine. She got her powers back. They chilling with the boys.
I must have to rewatch that. I feel like I forgot that.
Tragic.
But yeah. I think maybe the friendship between Butcher and Mother's Milk was the strongest of the group, and that is now deteriorating for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I
because
think
they're
they
definitely
were
on those two different sides of we should do this versus we shouldn't do this, and yeah, no, I think Butcher's on the rocks with pretty much everybody at this point.
So I'm interested to see what that will look like next season. I mean, I feel like, of course, they're going to need each other, but now that Mother's Milk and Butcher are on two different sides of justice, we don't know what that's going to look like. Or
Can't wait. Can't wait. They started filming the other day or today, I think. So pretty excited for that.
You think they'll be finished by the end of the year?
No. We're probably not getting that season for like at least the year after next, probably.
You telling me ain't no way.
Probably. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
This is not Euphoria.
I'm about to say it kind of is though. 'Cause I think Euphoria and this come out around like the same times. Because Euphoria came out this year, believe it or not.
It did, but then they're telling us we have to wait a year and a half for the next.
That's a friendship we can talk about. Rue
we will.
Everybody. Rue versus the world.
Rue versus the world.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Rue versus the people.
Because oh my goodness.
We will. We're going to get into that. Yeah, I just wanted to take a look and see how, media kind of looks at friendships and the way that they portray them. Even that when it comes down to like comic series or like animations or fictional things in the sense of like animation, like it's interesting because you can still see very blatant real life things that are happening on these fictional shows for sure. What is your prediction for the friend group in season 4?
My prediction would be a borderline spoiler because I've read the boys comics, so I'm gonna choose the.
But it's a little bit different though. It's actually a lot different
to an extent, but I still feel like they're gonna follow the same beats, which I think that's what they'll do. So I'm gonna choose not to answer the question. Just wild. Their relationships are gonna deteriorate even more. But now let's leave it at that.
And you don't think the boys are gonna be the boys anymore?
No.
Okay.
We're going into season 4. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna say how it's gonna happen, but I definitely think there are gonna be some deaths. Definitely think there's gonna be some fights. I would be surprised if any of them make it out, honestly. Especially how we ended that last season with season 3. Homelander openly killed someone in the streets. If he sees any of them, it's on site murder, kill.
Yeah, it's a wrap. That's fair.
He has nothing stopping him from doing it at this point. But also implies they don't kill each other. But with that note, I'm gonna leave it up to you. What's your predictions?
There are a lot of outcomes. We can look at a lot of predictions when it comes to that. I think that the boys, in the sense of who the boys are, will come back together. Will they all make it? No. I do not think they will all make it. I definitely think one, if not more, of them will die.
Them cicadas are whipping our ass, yo. This is crazy.
But I do think that season 4 is not going to be the series finale, so we will also be left on another cliffhanger. So inevitably, what happens with the boys, whoever survives, will still be taken into season 5 with the Supes.
We'll see.
That's my prediction. This is the first of many reviews we'll do with media, friendship and media. Let us know what you think about it in the comments. We're going to link all of our socials below. You can find us on Twitter at Funny Podcast. That's FUNI Podcast on Twitter. We are also on Instagram, The Friendship University Instagram. And you can email us at thefriendshipuniversity@gmail.com. We are out. Final thoughts, Miki, before we wrap it up, before the cicadas come back and wreak havoc again.
Diabolical. Or ever how old boy be saying it. That's all I got for you.
Well, word out. We hope you have a great weekend.
Oh, I got one more thing.
Go ahead.
Get your Beyonce funds ready.
Oh, get them up.
I have a line item for Beyonce tickets on my budget list.
Okay.
You ain't gonna have me out here. I missed the last one. Well, actually, I missed the last two. I didn't go to the Carters and I didn't go to Formation, mainly because I was poor. Beyonce costs money, and I ain't got that kind of money. But I'm gonna have it now.
You're not lying. You got to get the funds up. You actually have to be ready. Renaissance 2 and 3 are coming. Predictions are that Renaissance 2 will probably be visuals, and Renaissance 3 will probably be the tour. So get your funds in order now. You don't have a lot of time, people. I'm telling you, you hear 3 acts, but those acts are not years and years apart. So get your funds up. We got our Beyonce funds. We're ready to see her floor seats in this piece. Have a great weekend, you all. Be kind to one another. Be easy. And don't forget to smile. We out.
Bye.
Bye.